If you own a Bambu Lab P1 or X1 series printer, there's now a cheaper option for purchasing your nozzles. And surprise, it's AliExpress. Yes, I know most of you already know about AliExpress, so that's nothing new. But recently, there's vendors who offer OEM replacements for your Bambu Lab X1 and P1 nozzles at a substantially lower cost. And I'm not talking about the nozzles that have the replacement tips on the ends, but instead these are the same unibody design that you would get if you bought them directly from Bambu Lab. And at the time of recording this, Bambu Lab sells their complete hot end for $36 plus $7 for shipping, which turns out to be $43 US for a single complete hot end. On AliExpress, you can buy all of the components necessary to build a hot end for around $17 US, which includes free shipping. The only real difference between these two is that the one you get from Bambu Lab comes completely assembled, whereas the components you buy from AliExpress need to be assembled in order to create a complete hot end. But that's really simple, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. First, let's go through the parts. Here's the 2510 cooling fan, the thermistor, the ceramic heater, the nozzle, thermal paste, the heater clip, and finally, the silicone sock. I'll start by putting the thermistor in this hole on the side of the nozzle and gently bending the wires up towards the top of the nozzle. I'll smear a little thermal paste here on the side of the nozzle that has this little lip right here, and also put some in the hole for the thermistor. And then place the heater wire side up on top of the paste so that it rests against that lip. Now take the clip and push it on, making sure that the thermistor is firmly seated in the hole and the wires pass through the channel on the side of the clip. Place the silicone sock over the nozzle tip so that the access hole lines up with the channel in the heatsink and the thermistor and heater wires pass through it. Fit the wires into the heatsink channel and place the fan on the heatsink. Make sure the blades face out and the fan wires are on the top. Use the two provided screws and attach the fan to the heatsink. These screws need to be snug, but don't over-tighten. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And there are a couple of things that you need to be aware of. Make sure you're purchasing the correct fan, thermistor, and heater for your printer, since the connectors for the X1 and the P1 series are different. Be careful when routing the wires. The wires are somewhat fragile when you're handling them, but once you get them in place, they should be good. The final tip is to keep some of these parts on hand because you never know when you're going to have an emergency, and you don't want to have to wait for the part to ship when you really need it. That's it for this one. Hope you found it helpful. We'll see you in the next one.